When I moved into the old house, the landlord handed me the keys with a stern warning. The room at the end of the hall stays locked. Never open it. I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking. But his face didn't change. He was dead serious. The rent's cheap for a reason, he added. As long as you leave that door alone, you'll be fine. Fine, sure. The house was perfect otherwise. Cozy, spacious, and quiet. Exactly what I needed. So I agreed. The first week was uneventful, though I couldn't help but notice the door at the end of the hall. It was plain, with an old brass handle. Nothing remarkable, except for the feeling it gave me. Every time I walked past it, I felt watched. Late at night, I thought I heard noises coming from behind it. Faint scratching, like nails against wood. Sometimes it sounded like whispering, too quiet to make out. I told myself it was my imagination. Old houses make noise. Still, I started avoiding that part of the hall altogether. One night, I woke up to a thump. Groggy and disoriented, I sat up in bed and listened. The sound came again. It was coming from the hall. I grabbed my phone and crept toward the noise. As I got closer, I realized it was coming from the room. The door rattled lightly, as if something inside was pushing against it. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking. The noise stopped. I stared at the door, heart pounding, until the silence became unbearable. I backed away, returning to my room, and locked the door. The next morning, I convinced myself it was just the house settling, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. A few days later, I noticed the key was still in the lock. Why would the landlord leave it there if the door was so dangerous? If it was really off limits, wouldn't he have taken it with him? I told myself I wouldn't touch it, but every time I walked by, it felt like the key was calling to me. That night, the noises returned, scratching, whispers, and faint thuds. I sat up in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. My curiosity was eating me alive. Finally, I gave in. It was past midnight when I crept down the hall, heart pounding. The house was silent, except for the faint creaks of the floor beneath my feet. I reached the door and gripped the key. My hand trembled as I turned it. The lock clicked, and the door creaked open. The room was empty. It was small, with bare walls and a single chair in the center. The air was icy cold, so much so that I could see my breath. A faint smell of decay lingered, making my stomach turn. I stepped inside, the floorboards groaning under my weight. As I moved closer to the chair, I noticed scratches on the floor. Deep, jagged marks, like something had been dragged across it repeatedly. I shivered, suddenly feeling like I wasn't alone. Before I could react, the door slammed shut behind me. I ran to it, pulling at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. My phone had no signal. Panic set in as the air grew heavier, pressing against my chest. Then, the whispers started again, louder this time, echoing all around me. But the room was empty, or so I thought. I turned back toward the chair, and my heart stopped. A figure was sitting there, shadowy, with glowing red eyes that bore into me. It leaned forward, its voice a low growl. "You shouldn't have opened the door." I stumbled back, pressing myself against the wall, unable to breathe. The whispers turned into a deafening roar, and the room spun. The figure stood, towering over me, its form shifting and unnatural. I blacked out. When I came to, I was outside the room, lying on the floor in the hallway. The door was locked again, and the key was gone. At first, I thought it was a nightmare. But when I looked down, my hands were scratched and bloody, as if I'd been clawing at something. The air still smelled faintly of decay. That night, the noises didn't stop. I called the landlord the next morning, demanding answers. His voice was shaky. "I warned you," he said. "The room, it doesn't like to be disturbed." I moved out the next day, but no matter where I go, I still hear the whispers at night. And sometimes, I swear I can see glowing eyes watching me from the shadows. Some doors are locked for a reason. If you're told not to open one, don't.